What's up, y'all? Welcome to Friday. Cheers and good morning to you guys. Welcome to this new day. Appreciate y'all joining in. Welcome to all my replay viewers. I'm sorry I missed you live, but so glad you guys took some time to check out my broadcast. Welcome to all my live crew this morning. Great morning to you. Hope your Friday is amazing, and I'm excited to have you hanging out with me this morning. Tasha, what's up, girl? Kat, great morning to you. Brian, what's up, man? Tracy, Kim, Alex. My other Brian, thank you for coming in as well. I appreciate you guys. You guys are amazing. I see you on YouTube. I see you on Taps. I see you on Facebook. Y'all are crazy and amazing. I'm excited to hang out with y'all today, guys. We're going to talk about launch strategy, specifically how to launch and sell out your own signature product or service. We're going to talk about my 7-step process for creating a launch for your product, program, or service, whatever it is that you're trying to sell in the marketplace. I'm going to give you everything that I do for how I prepare for an upcoming launch and how I go through my motions and my process to sell out whenever I do a launch process. So excited to share this one with you this morning. Cheers and good morning to you guys. Jackie, good morning to you. Hope you guys have your favorite morning beverage with you. We have a lot to cover this morning, so we are going to dive right straight up into this. Hang tight, grab your pen and paper, and I will be right back with you, all right? Hang tight. All right, y'all. Justin Kaplan Pro is my name. JustinKaplanPro.com is my website. I'm a startup business mentor and a branding strategist that specializes in helping startup entrepreneurs turn your passion, your gifting, your ideas into a profitable and scalable brand, leveraging the power of social media marketing. If you are new to me, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. If it's your first time ever watching me, whether you're live or whether you're on the replay, I would love to know if it was your first time. If you want to give me a hashtag first time in the chat stream, I would love to know that you were here, and my crew would love to make you feel welcome. So let me know if it is the first time you've ever joined in with us, and then we are going to dive right into it this morning. So everybody give me a good morning, Justin, in the chat stream, so I know who's all here, and I can make sure that I'm seeing y'all, and I don't want to miss nobody. So we're gonna dive right into this. I'm picking up on part 2 from this conversation. I started this conversation yesterday. Yesterday we talked about how to communicate your signature program. I spent an entire hour talking about that. That's so important, y'all. If you missed that broadcast, highly encourage you to check this out, because my tip number 1 for you today is to be able to confidently communicate your signature. That's number 1. So we got number 1 out of the way. We covered that yesterday, but that is number 1 for a reason, because you've got to be able to confidently communicate what you're selling before you go into planning a launch process. And I've seen people do this, and I've worked with clients that have gone through this process before, where they've done the marketing and they've done the content and they've done challenges and they've created workbooks and they've got the landing page and the sales page and the funnel and all the things. But then it gets down to the point where someone actually asks them, can you tell me about your program? And they lose them there, because you're not able to clearly and confidently communicate what it is that you are selling. And write this down if you're taking notes. If you lack clarity and confidence in communicating what you're selling, the person you're talking to will lack clarity and confidence in your ability to deliver it for them. You've got to be able to communicate what you're selling. You've got to be able to confidently communicate what you're selling. Really what this boils down to is it boils down to being believable. Everybody put believable in the chat stream. You've got to be believable. When you are selling your own product, program, service, whatever it is that you've created, whatever you are trying to launch, you've got to be believable, meaning that when people experience you, they engage with you, they've got to believe that you know what you're doing and that you can deliver for them. Because if you miss that component, nothing else is worth it. Because I can teach you how to be a great marketer. I can teach you how to create great posts and do a great process and get all the buying temperature build up and get them set up and ready to roll to buy your thing. But if they get down to the finish line and you can't get them cross the finish line, what's the point? We just did a whole bunch of work for nothing. And this is where you can go through a whole bunch of work through a launch process and end up with nothing to show for it at the end, because a lot of people lose people at the end. So 2 things I'm going to give you right off the bat that I'm going to just tell you right off the front of this video. First of all, if you're not 1,000% confident that you could confidently communicate your product, program, or service, watch the video that I did yesterday. Now, there's going to be people that are going to be watching this on YouTube for months and years to come, whatever. Find the video that I talk about how to communicate your signature and watch that. Those guys that are here today, I did it yesterday. Okay, watch that video. Secondly, I hooked you guys up with a spectacular freemium yesterday. Go to masteryourcall.com. I'm going to put this in the chat stream. All right, masteryourcall.com. Check that thing out. It's free. That's a 2-hour masterclass where I teach you how to master my sales call process without being salesy. Basically, when someone's ready to get on the phone with you, how to handle the prospect phone call with ease without being salesy. I have an 89% close rate of people that get on the phone with me, and I do not bring up my product, program, or service or pricing unless you ask me to. It's a very effective process. It's not salesy. It just accomplishes everything that you need to do and everything the customer needs to hear from you before they're going to be ready to hire you. So if you're not comfortable with communicating your signature, watch my video yesterday. If you're not comfortable, 1000% comfortable getting on the phone call with someone, go to masteryourcall.com and download that video. It's a 2-hour video. It'll teach you everything. It'll blow your mind. Get it. It's free. Get it. Okay. We got all that out of the way. Let me take a sip of my coffee, because we got to dive into a lot of this stuff. All right, I'm going to remind you of the quote that I shared with you yesterday. This is my quote. My quote says, the service provider that best demonstrates that they understand their prospect's problem and can provide a valuable solution is usually the one that gets the business. I'm going to say it again. The service provider, meaning you're the service provider, but you're not the only service provider in the world. You're not the only one who does what you do. And you're not the only one that people are considering hiring if they are considering hiring someone. The average consumer nowadays, when they're looking for help and looking to hire that help, are usually looking between 5 and 7 professionals before they make their choice on the person that they want to work with. So if someone's seriously considering hiring me for branding, or if someone's seriously considering getting branding done or getting a website built, I know in my mind, I am not the only person that they are considering. They're probably looking at up to 5 to 7 other individuals trying to decide which person is going to be the best fit for them. So again, the service provider that best demonstrates that they understand their prospect's problem and can provide a valuable solution is usually the one that gets the business. So as we talk about launch strategy today, we're talking about all the ways that you need to demonstrate your problem-solving ability, demonstrate that you are the service provider for them and the best fit for whatever their need is, okay? So tip number 1 is clarify your signature. We talked about that yesterday. Step number 2 of my 7-step launch process is to map your customer journey. Map your customer journey. And I'm going to briefly cover the customer journey, but this is important. You want to think about upfront, if we're trying to get this person to the finish line, which the finish line is whatever you're selling, then we got to figure out what's going to take them from here to get them there. A lot of what people wrestle with when they're trying to figure out how to do a launch or try to figure out how to sell stuff online is they try to take them from stage 1 to stage 7 in one step. People think I'm just going to go out and I'm just going to do some live video, or I'm going to go do a post, or I'm going to do an email thing, and these people are just going to see this email and they're going to roll in and buy. I got my program for sale, so I'm going to go out and run a Facebook ad, and people are going to hit the Facebook ad and roll right in and buy. Wrong. In capital, all caps. Wrong. Somebody want to put wrong in the chat stream for me? Wrong. It does not work like that. You actually have to take that customer through a customer journey. So let me just talk to you real briefly about this customer journey. What do I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 steps in the customer journey, okay? 6 steps. Wrong, Tasha, with the squinting face. The first piece of the customer journey is general interest, all right? General interest. What that means is that there are a sea of people in the world today on social media that need you. The only problem that you have is they don't know you exist yet, and they don't know your service is available, but they still have a problem. They still have a need. They still have a frustration. They still have a pain point. Some of them know they need help. Some of them may not even know that they need help. All they know is they have a problem. That's a general interest person, meaning that they've got stuff going on in their life and that you're out here, but they haven't found you yet. All right. That's general interest. So the first thing you got to figure out when I'm talking about mapping the customer journey is you got to figure out, first of all, how you are going to engage or connect with those general interest people? How are you going to put yourself out there? That could be a variety of different ways. That could be live stream video. That could be social posts. That could be engaging in Facebook groups. That could be running ads to give away something for free. You're basically trying to put your business out in front of people that don't know you exist yet. So the first step is mapping the customer journey. You got to figure out, how am I going to engage that general interest prospect? What I do is video. I'm good at video. Video is my thing. I'm king. Video is king for me. And I know that there is a sea of people in the world that will watch my videos if I create the kind of videos that engage where their needs are at. So I do live video. Live video is how I engage general interest prospects. All right. The second stage in the customer journey is curiosity. So curiosity is what happens after they've had an experience with you that was a positive one. All right. So if I got somebody that's watching this video today and maybe they've recently written a book, or they've recently created a course, or they've done something and they're trying to figure out how to sell it, and somebody shares out this video, they were a general interest prospect. And then all of a sudden they come across me like, who's this guy? He's talking about how to launch and sell out your own signature product or service. I guess I'll watch this video. I have zero rapport with that person. They don't know me at all. They don't know me. They don't like me. They don't trust me yet. All they know is I was general interest. Now I see this guy. And so they sit and they listen to me for a little bit. And hopefully throughout a little bit of my conversation, I start sharing some things that are actually really, really helpful. And they're like, oh, now I'm kind of curious about this guy. Curiosity is what happens after someone has a good experience with you. So you got to figure out, first of all, how am I going to engage that general interest prospect and get them paying a little bit of attention to me? Then how do I move them into curiosity? Curiosity is when you've given value. All right. Write value in your notes. Value, value, value. You want to be putting value out there enough where they can take what you're giving them and actually use it. And that makes them curious about you. All right. Once they're curious about you, this is what happens. You need to be prepared for this. When someone becomes curious, what do? You do research. You start digging a little deeper. So as soon as I cross over that curiosity factor, that's where people go to Google and Google you. That's where they go to your Facebook profile and look you up and start seeing what other kind of content you share. That's when they send you a friend request. That's when they go to your Instagram profile. Wherever it is that you're sharing content, when someone becomes curious about you, that's when they do a little bit of digging. You have to be ready for that. Do not go into a launch process if you are not prepared for the visibility that that launch process will bring you. Meaning, don't just go create a product and then say, I'm going to go out and start doing some social posts and start trying to attract some attention without looking at what your Google search results are going to give them. Do you have a website set up to show them? What is your is your Facebook profile cleaned up? Have you overhauled things that need to position you as a hireable professional? It's really what it boils down to, is that when someone becomes curious and they start doing a little bit of research, are they going to, whatever they're going to find, be it Google or Facebook or wherever they're going to do their research, are they going to find things that are going to add to the narrative that you are a hireable professional? Or are they going to find things that makes them question whether you are a hireable professional? Hopefully that makes sense. All right. So curiosity is important. So again, step 2 on this is mapping the customer journey. We're figuring out what are the stages that my customer is going to have to go through to get from general interest to hiring me, and what am I going to do intentionally to walk them through that process? So what am I going to do to engage them at general interest? How am I going to put myself out there? Once they become curious, what are they going to see of me? Am I prepared on my Facebook profile? Am I prepared on Google? Does my website look good? Am I ready for the eyes that are to come? All right. That's curiosity. The third stage is emotional engagement. Emotional engagement is when you get them past general interest and you get them emotionally connected to you. Emotionally connected to you is when you do something that's beyond surface. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute, how you can do that. Emotional engagement. Then genuine connection is stage 4. Offline conversation, stage 5. Irresistible recommendation is stage 6. And I'm going to talk through how I personally work through accomplishing each of these things. So again, I'm going to give this to you. I know I'm going quick, but we got a lot to cover. So 6 steps in the customer journey. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. The customer journey: general interest, curiosity, emotional engagement, genuine connection, offline conversation, an irresistible recommendation. All right. You need to map out those things. Now, let me keep going through my process so that you can kind of fill in the gaps as we go along. All right. So, step one of the overall launch process is making sure that you can confidently communicate your signature program. All right. Step two is mapping out the customer journey and understanding what that customer is going to have to go through before they're going to be ready to hire you. Again, I've said this all the time. I'll say it again this morning. It takes an average of 5 to 7 positive experiences with your brand before someone will usually be willing to hire you or take a next step with you on any level. 5 to 7 experiences with you. So understanding that customer journey is very, very important. This is why, again, you can't just go write a book or create a course with no exposure, no visibility, no audience, no rapport whatsoever, and go out and run a Facebook ad and expect people to run in and buy it. Because all you're doing is putting yourself out in front of people that are general interest prospects that do not know you at all and trying to take them from general interest to irresistible recommendation and skipping the other 4 steps in the middle. It doesn't work. You've got to connect to them, which is why I will not ever recommend you go out and throw money at Facebook ads if you have not done enough to build rapport yet. All right. You've got to build rapport. You've got to establish trust with people. Okay. The third piece of the launch process is to map your launch plan and timeline. I'm going to kind of give you these things together because there's a few things that we need to talk about throughout this. All right. But in general, what I want to think about is I want to think about how am I going to be accomplishing some of these steps? Like, how am I going to create emotional engagement? How am I going to make a genuine connection with people? How do I get these people off the general interest wagon and get them into curiosity? How do I engage these folks? All right. So a couple things that I do usually every single time that I do a launch is I have 2 primary mechanisms that I use to leverage engagement and drive people to what I'm selling. All right. Both of those things are free. The first thing that I almost always do whenever I'm launching something is I create a freemium that directly correlates with what I'm selling. Usually it's a workbook, a guide, something that is high value. Usually it's a starting point. So if I know, for example, if I'm going to be launching a new startup business program, I'm going to create a freemium that's a startup business guide. And in that startup business guide, it might cover everything from how to get started with your licensing, purchasing a domain name, how to do Google research, all the differences between LLCs and corps and all the things with legal that you need to understand, getting invoicing set up, my most recommended tools and software for operating a business. I can put together this guide that's going to basically be like everything you need to know on the back end of starting a business to get started. And I'll create that in a free guide. It'll have workbook options. That'll be free. And I'll create that ahead of time. And that's something that I'm going to leverage. All right. The other thing that I almost always do whenever I'm going into a launch season is I do a challenge. I usually do a 5 or a 7-day challenge. And I'm going to talk about why in just a second. So those are my 2 primary mechanisms, both free, a high value free ebook packed full of excellent information, and then a free challenge. That's also in direct correlation to whatever it is that I'm selling. Okay. So when I talk about mapping out my launch plan and my timeline, I'm aware now of my customer journey. I'm aware of the steps that I need to move people through. So then I'm going to ask myself, what am I going to do and in what order to create the momentum that I need to get people down to the finish line of what I'm selling? Okay. So mapping my launch plan, the first thing I want to figure out is what am I selling and when? All right. Begin with the end in mind. Somebody put that in the chat stream for me, please. Begin with the end in mind. I need to know exactly what I'm selling. And I need to know what is my day that I want to open enrollment. So let's talk about Black Friday, for example, because it's a great reference and I do Black Friday every year. All right. So let's say I'm going to be selling a brand new signature program on Black Friday in November. All right. So Black Friday is my day. So I'm going to take Black Friday and I'm going to back up. And I'm going to say, all right, when am I going to start my marketing? And in what stages am I going to take this thing through? Am I going to do a challenge ahead of time? And if so, how and when am I going to do that challenge? When am I going to start marketing my ebook? So what I usually do is I usually have a very strategic process that I go through, usually 3 weeks leading up to the day that I open my cart. All right. Now with this, if I'm going to do a Black Friday launch, and I know I want to do a challenge leading up to my Black Friday launch, I have to think about the timing of that week. I got Thanksgiving in that week. I'm not going to be able to effectively do a 5 or 7 day challenge leading into Black Friday because I got to do a Thanksgiving week. So what I might do instead is I might do a challenge the week prior. And so I might open up my cart the Friday before Black Friday, leave my cart open for 7 days, and then have Black Friday be the last day for open enrollment. All right. So now I'm a week ahead of Black Friday, and I can do my challenge that entire week. So let's say I do a 5-day challenge, Monday through Friday. On that Friday, I open up my cart, and then my cart is open for 7 days and closes on Black Friday. All right, I could do that. And that's one way to do it, because you want to think about the sales time. A lot of people get this wrong, and I'm bringing this up for a reason. I've seen people be like, "Well, I'm gonna, Justin, I think I'm gonna roll out my workbook, and I'm going to do a quick challenge next week and leading into my sale. I'm just going to go after this. I'm going to do the whole thing next week and start selling." I'd be like, okay, so your plan is to open up your cart for a brand new program that you just created on the Friday before Memorial Weekend, when everybody is taking their first vacation of the summer. Everybody's kids are just ending school. Graduations are happening. And your plan is to open your cart on Friday when everybody's packing their campers and leaving for a week? Wrong. Let's do wrong in all caps again. No, you got to think about when you're actually selling it. Like, for Pete's sake, y'all, when you're going to sell something, look at the calendar and try to ask yourself, what is happening that week? What is happening that weekend? Are there any holidays that I need to think about? What is going on in the world? Your target audience matters. You need to think about your actual target audience. If you are trying to sell your product to moms, stay-at-home moms that are busy with kids, all right, ask yourself, all right, what is going on in the month of May right now? What are we thinking about coming into the summertime? What are they dealing with? What are they thinking about? What's on their plate right now? You want to make sure you plan your actual cart day, the day you open cart. You need to really think hard about that day and make sure that is the very best day for you to open that thing. All right, so that day matters significantly. And then once you're like, all right, I want to open my cart on this day. Then you want to back up at least 2 weeks, if not 3 weeks. I would say 2 weeks minimum. I spend a minimum of 2 weeks going up to a launch, if not 3, usually 3 for me. Okay. And I want to look at the 3 weeks leading up to it and say, can I effectively get people through my launch process leading up to this day? What is the best 2 or 3 week window for me to really, really work this challenge? All right. And there's a couple variables to that. You need to ask yourself, is this the right timing of year for them? With what my target audience has going on, is this a good season for them to be able to give me their focus and give me their time? Also, is this a good season for me? What do I have going on? Am I going to be able to give this my undivided attention? I'm going to give you your last tip of the day, your number 7. I'm just going to bring this one up right now, and I'll reiterate it at the end. Your last tip of the day today is that your launch season has to be an all-in mentality. Do not go into a launch process or a launch season not being able to give your launch your undivided attention. When I do a launch season, like, I pretty much clear my schedule. I take very, very little one-on-ones. I have nothing going on, no vacations, no kid stuff. You have your normal kid stuff, but no significant extracurriculars, nothing that is going to be a distraction to me. I have to be able to give my launch season my undivided attention. I also have a very real conversation with my family that I am going into launch season. I'm preparing for an upcoming launch for the next 2 weeks. I'm going to be very busy, and I'm going to be on my phone a lot. So just FYI, just so you guys know, I'm going to be doing a lot of content. There's going to be extra lives. I'm going to be on my phone a lot. I'm going to be tired at night. I'm going to be going to bed early, getting up early. There's going to be a lot of things going on. Next 2 weeks is going to be a little wild for me, FYI. And I communicate that so everybody knows. So I don't get anybody feeling some type of way because dad's on the phone at 11 o'clock at night messaging people. All right. that's just, you got to get that out there. All in mentality. All right. Somebody put all in the chat stream in all caps for me. Cheers and good morning to you guys. I appreciate you hanging out with me this morning. All right. So map your launch plan and map your timeline. Dates matter. Timeline matters. Okay. That's number 3. You got to figure out when you're going to put all these things together. Now I get questions like, Justin, what's the best day to open cart? Can I open cart on a Monday? Can I open it on a Wednesday? Can I open it on a Friday? Does it matter? This is what I do. This is what I've learned. I've tried just about everything. I've done a variety of different ways and strategies for creating a launch process. I personally find that I like opening my cart. And when I say opening my cart, that means that the link goes out, the link is live, and you can buy what I'm selling. All right. Open cart means the cart's open. You can go buy it now. All right. I usually open my cart on a Friday and I leave my cart open for a week and I close it on the following Friday. The reason why I do Friday to Friday is because Fridays are, for most people, are paydays, and some people get paid bi-weekly. So if I open up my cart on this Friday, and this is not your payday, I'm going to leave my cart open up to the following Friday. So I'm going to cross 2 pay periods. All right. And that's what I found to be the most effective. Fridays also are a very, very good sales day statistically, not just for me, but in general. All right. Any other day of the week, Monday, Wednesday, I've had people try to open their carts on Sundays. It just doesn't work. You might get some sales, but you got to really, really work for people's attention trying to close on different days. So my personal opinion, and if you're working with me and I'm telling you, open your cart on a Friday, because Fridays, in my opinion, are the best. I've had people tell me, Justin, do I have to close the cart? Can I just open my cart on Friday and just leave it open until I sell out? Yeah, you could, but there's a lot of power in urgency. All right. You want to give people some urgency. And let me just tell you this too. One of the other things that I'll do, I'm just going to throw some tips at you. This one isn't necessarily a point, but let's just call this a bonus tip. Somebody put bonus tip in the chat stream for me, please. All right. This is a bonus. One of the things that I do is, as I go throughout my launch process of 2 or 3 weeks, when I'm working my free workbook and I'm working my challenge, one of the things that I do is I talk a lot about, guys, I'm having upcoming launch. This thing opens up on this day, on this Friday. All right. And I talk about the guys in 3 weeks or in 4 weeks or in 2 weeks, I'm getting ready to launch this program. And what I do is I leverage my workbook and my challenge. And I say, listen, y'all, when I open up this enrollment, I have an exclusive email list only for this challenge. If you download this workbook, if you get in on the challenge, you're automatically going to be added to that email list. But if you haven't downloaded the workbook yet, and if you're not a part of the challenge yet, I'm just going to tell you this. You want to be on my email list. Go to my website. Here's my link. If you want to get plugged into my exclusive launch list, everybody that's on that exclusive launch list is going to get an email 12 hours prior to launch day. And you guys are going to get first dibs on the only 10 spots that are available, or the only 20 spots that are available, or the only 5 spots that are available. I almost always limit my cart to a quantity of people. It's not a matter of I'm just going to open my cart for 7 days and see how many people buy it. I almost always, I can't remember the last time I sold something and didn't limit the quantity, because limiting the quantity creates a tremendous sense of urgency. So this is what I do. Let's say I've got 10 people, and I'll give you an example. Last year for Black Friday, no, that wasn't last year. This is 2019. 2019, my Black Friday was my EXP Mastermind, where I sold a 1-year mastermind. I sold a 1-year mastermind for a year that included 2 different retreats. It was amazing. It was a $10,000 purchase. I had 10 people max. All right. And I worked this thing all the way up to my Black Friday launch day. Now, what I do is I create this email list. I create this email list of people that are interested. And what happens is on the day before, so 12 hours prior, my official launch day is Black Friday morning at 8 a.m. So 8 p.m. on Thanksgiving evening, I send an email out to my launch list with not only open cart, but also an exclusive discount that's only available for that 12-hour window. And I tell people this. I tell people as I go through this period, guys, listen, if you are the slightest bit interested in being connected to this offer, you've got to get on my launch list, because my launch list is going to get an email 12 hours prior to launch day. Not only do you get first dibs on the only 10 spots available, but you're also going to get an exclusive discount that's only available for that 12-hour window. What that does is that creates urgency prior to me even getting to launch period. Beyond that, though, what that does is that tells me where I'm at and who's interested. Because honestly, think about it. If I'm launching this program, no matter what it is that you're selling, if you're launching something and you're telling people that you're getting ready to launch something, and if you tell them, listen, I have an exclusive launch list, and if you get on this list, you're going to get an email 12 hours prior to launch day. You're going to get first dibs on the only X amount of places that are available, and you're going to have an exclusive discount that's only available for that 12-hour window. If I'm the slightest bit interested, all right, if I'm the slightest bit interested, there's no reason for me to not sign up on that list. So what that list does is that list gives me a gut check. That list gives me a gut check as to how many people I actually have interested. And that should help you. I think you were, Kat. I think you were the first one. But this is such a powerful way to kind of get a pulse for if your launch is actually working or not. Because if you're doing marketing and videos and all kinds of stuff and nobody is signing up on that list, and if you get up to a few days before your actual open cart day and you don't have anybody on the list, nobody's buying what you're selling. I mean, that's it. That's just it. Because if you tell people all you got to do is sign up for this list, you get first dibs on the open seats, and you get an exclusive discount only for that 12-hour window. If nobody wants that, they don't want what you're selling. So for me, what this does, excuse me, for me, what this does is this is why I usually do 3 weeks of marketing leading up to what I'm selling. Lucy, great morning to you. Thanks for coming in, buddy. This is what I do 3 weeks of marketing leading up to my open cart day, because for that entire 3 weeks, I'm immediately talking about this launch coming up. And I'm immediately talking about getting on that exclusive email list so that I know. So if I go an entire week of that first week of marketing and I don't have anybody signing up on the list, I know I need to make a drastic change immediately. Because if I've done an entire week of marketing and nobody's subscribed to that list yet, I need to do something different. So it gives you a very clear picture of where you're at. And that's tough. It's tough to create that in marketing. That's why this is genius. Somebody can put Justin's a genius in the chat stream. Justin's a social media wizard, like Tasha's called me before. I mean, call me whatever you want. I've been called some bad things. I've been called some good things. But this is such a genius process, y'all. And I do it every single time I do a launch. And it's so nice because there's nothing worse than having something that you desperately want to sell, that you've worked on and built and believe in. And then you go through your entire launch process without having any idea who's interested and how many you might actually be able to sell. All right. So this exclusive launch list is spectacularly genius idea. Highly encourage you to use it. All right. So back to our map your launch plan and timeline. I got my plan. I know when I'm opening my cart. I know how long I'm going to launch. I know that I'm going to be working my launch list to get people on that list. And then I do this. I open up my cart usually 12 hours prior. I send an exclusive email out just to people that are on that list, giving them the link, giving them the role. And then this is what happens. So again, back to, do I leave cart open? Whatever. This is what I say is, thank you guys. Y'all are awesome. Appreciate you humoring me. So I open my cart on a Friday. I go Friday to Friday again, because I believe if you cross 2 pay periods, you got the best shot at closing as many sales as possible. And then what I do is, instead of saying, guys, my cart opens Friday or cart opens this Friday and it closes next Friday, I don't usually say it's closing the next Friday. This is what I said, guys, my cart opens Friday. I have 10 spots available. And once I get 10 spots, the cart's closed. And that's it. And that's how I approach my launch. And so that, even in my mind, I know I'm probably going to keep it open for 7 days because I want to cross those 2 pay periods. But the way I communicate is, guys, listen, I am opening up the launch for this program on this Friday. you got to get on my exclusive launch list because you're going to get an email 12 hours prior to launch day with first access to the seats. Plus, you're going to get an exclusive discount only for that 12 hours. I'm going to open up that launch that evening. My official launch kicks off Friday morning, and then that cart will remain open until I fill all 10 spots. When the 10 spots are gone, it's gone. That's it. And what happened, like when I did my $10,000 mastermind, I knew in my mind who was probably going to do it. If I recall, I got to think about this. If I recall, I had 6 people that signed up in that 12-hour window on Thursday night. So before I even launched, I had 6 people already enrolled in my mastermind. So then when I roll out Friday morning, what does that do? That gives you more leverage because now I'm going into launch day with my official launch video, doing my launch video Friday morning, highlighting my mastermind, talking about what I'm doing. Guys, listen, I'm launching my mastermind and just want to let you know my launch list got my email last night and I already have 6 enrollees. So it's officially launch day and I've already filled 6 of the 10 seats. So there's only 4 spots available. If you are the slightest bit interested, get off this video right now and go to my website and get signed up because I expect to fill the remaining 4 spots by the end of the day. And that's exactly what I said. And if I recall, I filled 3 spots that day. I had one other person that really needed to have a phone call with me prior to committing to it. And I got them on the phone over the weekend and they signed up by Monday. I had all 10 spots filled by that next Monday, if I recall. Something like that. But that it creates urgency, right? It creates a tremendous amount of urgency. There's a variety of ways that you can spend this, but doing something like that, especially doing that 12-hour pre-launch window exclusively for your list is genius, all right? Lucy said, I'm creating a challenge. I love that. We're going to talk about challenges here in just a second, Lucy. So map your launch plan and your timeline. That's a whole bunch about that, all right? Let's talk about step number 4. So I'm giving, again, 7 steps. Number 1 is clarify your signature. You have to be able to confidently communicate what you're selling. I did an entire video about that yesterday if you missed that. Number 2 is mapping out your customer journey. What are the steps they're going to have to go through to get down to the finish line to pay you? Step number 3 is mapping your launch plan and timeline. Step number 4 is to market your primaries, and then everything else supports, all right? Market your primaries, everything else supports. What that means is I know I have 2 primary methods of taking people through this customer journey. That's the free workbook that I'm going to create, and that's the 5-day challenge that I'm going to do. Both of those are free. Both of those get people on my launch list. Both of those give me an opportunity to take people through the customer journey. So I know initially, if I'm going to do 3 weeks of launch prior to my actual open cart day, I'm going to start promoting that ebook or that workbook right away. And I want to start getting as many people downloading that thing as possible. So that'll be my first week. So I'll market that and promote that workbook for 2 solid weeks, as well as I'll promote the upcoming challenge that's coming up on week 3. So week 3 will be my 5-day challenge. At the end of that week, that's when cart opens. So what I'm talking about with marketing your primaries, everything else supports. I know I have 2 primary tools that I'm going to use, my free workbook and my 5-day challenge, that are going to allow me to take people through this customer journey. The workbook is going to pull people out of general interest. Maybe people who have never worked with me before, that have never experienced me before. I'm going to create that workbook, and I'm going to use that workbook to engage that general interest prospect. I might even run ads on that workbook if I feel like it, but I'm going to get that workbook everywhere. I'm going to promote that thing like crazy. Then I know the workbook is going to give me the opportunity to create some curiosity and to create a bit of an emotional connection. Then I'm going to leverage the workbook and the momentum from that workbook to get as many people into my 5-day challenge as possible, because I know the 5-day challenge, I'm going to be able to connect emotionally and create genuine connections. And then my 5-day challenge is designed to get people to offline conversations. I want to accomplish emotional engagement, genuine connection, and offline conversation in my 5-day challenge. All right, that's crucial. I want to have experiences with people, and I want to have people have experience with me. So when I talk about marketing your primaries, everything else is supporting. When I go through this 3-week launch process, I'm going to be doing tons of live video, tons of posts, testimonies. I'll be doing stories. I'll be doing all kinds of things to keep people thinking about what it is that's coming up. But what I'm marketing primarily is I'm marketing my ebook, because I know that's going to get people into into connecting to me, and I'm going to market my funnel. I'm not my funnel, my challenge, my ebook and my challenge, ebook and challenge. Market. Those are my primaries, because I know those two things, my workbook and my challenge, are going to be what are necessary for me to really take them through the customer journey. Everything else, excuse me, I'll take a drink of water real quick. Everything else that I'm doing is to support marketing my workbook and my challenge. Every video that I do, every post that I do, everything that I'm doing is to support marketing my workbook and marketing my 5-day challenge. Does that make sense? All right. I'm just looking at your comments. I see you all. Just make sure nobody has questions. All right. So market your primaries. Everything else supports. All right. So I want to bring this up because what I feel like a lot of people do sometimes wrong in their challenges is they know what they're selling. They know what you're selling, but you don't have a hook. You don't have a primary hook like a workbook or a challenge or something. And so without the hook, you're just doing content, just trying to stir people up and get people seeing you and trying to build up momentum. And then you go into a launch and you open up your cart hoping that all that random work that you've done is going to make people want to land on your launch day. And you might get some results, but not significant enough to really bank on it. But if you're strategic about it and you know that I'm really promoting this book and I'm really promoting this challenge, everything that you're doing over the course of 3 weeks is not to sell what you're selling. I want you to get this. All that work and launch period is not to sell what you're selling. You don't sell what you're selling until sell day, all right? Till open cart day. The work that you're doing over that 3-week period is to promote what you're giving for free. Promote your workbook, promote your challenge, promote your whatever it is, your webinar, whatever it is that you're doing for free. Promotion, because you're doing everything that you can to engage people and get them engaging with you, because you know what sells your product at the end. I want you to listen to me, y'all. What sells your product at the end is your ability to take them through the customer journey. That's what sells product. Okay. Yes, I think so. Absolutely. Tasha says, so should one of my freemiums be my primary workbook? I believe so. Absolutely, Tasha. We can talk more about that, but absolutely, I believe so. Giveaways, Lucy's talking about prizes. She gives away small purses. Anything you can do to get people connecting with you and following along on your customer journey. So for me, I start out with a workbook to engage them, and then I start leveraging the workbook to get them into my challenge, because I know if I can get people in a challenge with me, I will take them through the customer journey, not only successfully, but powerfully, because I'm very good at doing challenges. And the reason why I'm good at doing challenges is because I go all in on challenges. All right. So let's keep going. So step 4 is to market your primaries. Everything else supports. Does that make sense? Put yes in the chat stream. I want to make sure I'm making sense. And if you have questions, y'all, I love questions. So feel free to ask me any questions you have if you have them, all right? And in case you don't know this yet, this content is absolute gold. And I have people that pay me a lot of money for this. So I'm giving this to you for free. Leverage it, use it, bank off of it. All I want from you is a testimonial. Like, send me a message. Justin, I just did my launch. It's the best launch I ever had. 5 figures in 5 days. Whatever you want to tell me. I just want to hear about it. It worked for you. Okay? So this is gold content. Share it out. Tag somebody in the chat stream if you feel like they need to watch it, okay? I'm going to switch these points here. I'm going to give you point number 6, and then I'll tell you the other one. All right, the next point I'm going to give you is what I call the opt-in trifecta. Thank you, Lucy. I appreciate you so much. Number 6. This is actually number 6, but I'm going to give you number 5. All right, so number 4 was market your primaries, everything else supports. The next thing I want to tell you is I want to talk to you about the opt-in trifecta. That's what I call the opt-in trifecta. The opt-in trifecta is 3 things. If you can accomplish these 3 things, your launch day will show for it. Okay. The first thing is you want people to be able to experience you at your very best. The very best they have ever seen you. You want people to experience you at your very, very best. This is one of the reasons, not the only reason, but one of the reasons why I do 5-day challenges leading into a launch is because what I have is I've had people that will watch me on live video or maybe have engaged with me on social media for years, but maybe they've never worked with me in a challenge. If you've watched me on live video and if you experienced me in live video, I make a good impression, right? I engage you, I hang with you, I teach you, I share, tons of value. But if you come in and you work with me in a challenge, I mean, if you think I'm good on a video, what you get from me in a challenge goes up here because I go all in. And like I told you before, you got to have an all-in mentality. I go all in for people that do a challenge with me. When I do a challenge, my mission is not to get 500 people in a challenge. When I do a challenge, I usually limit it to 30 or 40 people max because I want to invest in you. I mean, I'll call you, we work through you, we crank out so much stuff in a 5-day period with me. It'll blow your mind. And so, again, the opt-in trifecta, number 1, is you want people to experience you at your very best. And I've shared this before, I'm going to share it again. Remember that whatever people experience with you for free, they believe that will only be amplified once they've paid you. Okay? I'll say that again. Whatever people experience with you for free, they believe will only be amplified once they've paid you. So if what you give them for free is spectacular, it makes them like, imagine what it would be like to work with him. Imagine if I could do a Zoom with him. Imagine if I could show him my business and let him work with me on my branding personally. Imagine if he could brainstorm with me. This is so good. This content today on how to create an effective launch strategy is so good. But imagine if I could just have a one-on-one with Justin and talk to him about what I'm launching and what I'm creating and how much he could probably give me to completely map this out, right? What you experience for free will only be amplified once you've paid someone. So you want people to experience you at your very best so that your fee, your program, whatever you're selling, starts to become completely irresistible because they just like, I have to get that, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is you want to give them a vision for what's possible. All right. It's one of the things that I'm very good at doing is creating a vision. And I work through that in a 5-day challenge. I want to help people get a vision for where they can go and what's possible and what they could be able to achieve. Whatever it is that you specialize in, whatever it is that you do, you want them to be able to get a vision for how your product, program, or service could really benefit their life and that they could see what that life would look like. All right. So number 1 is experience you at your very best. The second is get a vision for what's possible. The third is realize that they cannot get there on their own. That's your opt-in trifecta. 3 things. And I accomplish those 3 things every single time I do a 5-day challenge. My mission is a 5-day challenge is for you to experience me at my very best, to give you a vision for what's possible. And by the end of the week, get you to a point where you are completely motivated, completely inspired, charged up, ready to go. But you realize there's no way that you can move forward on everything you want to do without my help. That's the point. And I have people that'll go, but honestly, I'll tell you this. I have had people that have gone through 5-day challenges with me, and I'll do a phone call. They ask for a phone call with me, and I'll get on the phone. How was the challenge? Justin, it was so good. It was so amazing. I've had people that get on the phone with me and literally cry and like just completely break down bawling because they want to work with me so bad but can't afford it. I get it. I'm sorry. But my services cost money, and they'll have to like save their money or whatever. But I can't tell you the number of people that I've got on the phone that literally cry at the end of a challenge because they don't have the money to hire me. But then But then, a lot of these people, they save their money and then they come back to me months or, years later once they actually have the money, and that's fine. But I think the reason why that emotion is so powerful is because I have worked my system effectively. And again, I am not a salesperson. I do not sell people. I serve people. I serve people well, y'all. I'm a servant. I say it all the time. I do not sell things for a living. I serve people for a living. I believe wholeheartedly that if you serve effectively, the sale happens naturally. I serve people well. And so the process that I'm teaching, what I'm teaching you today is work. But I tell you, if you do it well, and if you work this with the genuine intention of serving your audience, serving them well, and not just simply trying to sell them something, it will pay off for you. The opt-in trifecta: experience you at your very best, get a vision for what's possible, and realize that they can't get there on their own. All right? That's number 5. Number 6, before you start up your launch process, before you do your first day of anything, you get your systems in order and you test everything. I can't tell you this enough. Get your systems in order, test everything, meaning whatever steps they're going to go through, you test them yourself. If you've got a landing page on your website that's going to capture email, type in the domain name, go there yourself, enter your name and email, make sure it redirects, make sure the Facebook redirects, make sure if they're buying something, make sure the sales mechanism works. I had a client that I was helping, this is several years ago. They were going through this big launch process. We created ClickFunnels and the whole thing's for them. And I told her, make sure you go through your ClickFunnel, make sure you just click through the funnel and make sure you purchase all the things yourself, go through the upsells and make sure that everything processes accordingly so that you can make sure that everything's working. Like, I got it. That's great. And the day of launch, and this is a Black Friday launch too. It's like Friday afternoon, I get this message from them. Justin, I've got people reaching out to me telling me that the cart's not working or that the product isn't loading up when they try to purchase it. And I'm like, and it had been like 3 weeks ago. I said, well, did you test it? No, I didn't have a chance. I'm like, well, I am in the middle of my own Black Friday launch right now. I can't go to your ClickFunnels and fix it just because you didn't test it. You need to go in there and, mess with it yourself. I'm like, and these people, they had people that were going in and trying to buy something for them and the cart wasn't working. And it was a simple glitch that happened from something else they had fixed. And it was an easy fix. But I'm like, you don't go into a launch process without testing your systems. Make sure you test everything. Make sure everything that you're doing is working. If you're doing an ebook download or something like that, make sure that whatever download or link or whatever you're using works. Test everything yourself before you try sending people to that, all right? That was number 6. And the last one I already told you, I'm just going to tell you again, is launch season has to be an all-in mentality. Launch season has got to be an all-in mentality. I'm telling you, if you really want to leverage your launch, map that thing out, plan it out with the intention of really going all in for your audience. Like I only do usually 2 big launches a year. One of them is Black Friday sales season. Then the other one is at my discretion when I just feel like I'd like to. 2 a year. And it's a ton of work, but it pays off. If you go into it distracted or busy or uncommitted, this is where I truly believe you will get out of it what you put into it. If you give 50%, you might get 50%. If you give 110%, then expect that thing to blow your mind. When I go into a challenge week, by the time I get past open cart, usually what I do too, just another FYI, is when I open my cart, like for example, on Black Friday, when I go through a Black Friday sales season, I open my cart on Black Friday and I sell whatever my signature program is for Black Friday. I open that cart, I work that cart. It's like more like Black November for me. I go all in on November. And then once that cart is closed, that program doesn't actually start until January 1st because I'm ready to freaking chill out and relax and enjoy some peace and quiet after that. When I do a launch period, if I do it in the middle of the summer, I'll go through a whole period of time and I'll launch that thing and do that open cart. And then I won't actually start my program probably for 2 weeks after the cart is closed because I want to give myself some downtime. I'll go take a vacation or something because I just go all in. I just pour into it. So expect to do that. Expect to be that for your process. And I believe wholeheartedly it'll pan out for you again. All right, guys, was that good for you today? That was 7 of my very best tips that I can get you on creating a launch process. Again, if you missed it, I highly encourage you to watch my broadcast from yesterday on the importance of being able to confidently communicate your signature program. Again, reminder, I also have an awesome freemium for you to teach you how to master the sales call. If you guys go to masteryourcall.com, that'll take you to a page on my website where I'm hooking you up with a 2-hour masterclass that I did on mastering the sales call process. If you struggle on the phone, watch that video. Watch that video. It'll change your life. I promise you. All right. It's free, completely free. Grab it, get it, do it. It'll change your life. All right. Y'all, I appreciate you. I know an hour of your time is so incredibly valuable. So I so appreciate your time today. You all are amazing. Be intentional with your time today. Have an amazing Friday. Have an amazing weekend. And now we'll see you guys all around the web. All right. Take care. God bless y'all. I'll see y'all later.